Hi, welcome to CIDC Nirman. I'm Jayashree Kurup. I'm editor, CIDC Nirman. Steel has become such an important element of the Indian construction industry. And today, discussing the problems of steel, the potential of steel, is Mr. Yogesh Mandani of Mumbai. He's the president of the All India Induction Furnace Association, now known as Sustainable Steel Manufacturers Association. He's also the president of the Steel Manufacturing Association of Maharashtra. He has his own steel plant. He's director of the SMW Ispat Private Limited and Central India's largest steel plant. Thank you, Mr. Mandani, for joining us. Welcome to CID Cinema. Mr. Mandani, let's first talk about the role of steel and the importance of steel in construction, and particularly the growing importance of that in the Indian context.
See, we all know that in the construction industry, almost 43% of the component required for the construction for the infrastructure consists of a steel. And if you see the globally, the average per capita steel consumption is roughly around 233 kgs. But in India, it is just a 78 kgs. And that too in the rural part, it is just 21 kg per capita. So there is a very big difference. We all know that our development has started a few years back, and there is a lot of scope for the infrastructure development. Our population is increasing, and the requirement of the infrastructure is at its peak, and it's a very at a high level. We all need to meet out this infrastructure need, and steel will be playing a major role. So there is a big scope from 78 kg to 233 kg per capita. So there is a very big scope wherein the steel can be used. Recently, our steel ministry, government of India, has targeted that by 2030 we should reach the production capacity of 300 million tons. At present, it is around roughly 150 million tons we have reached. So, in the coming days, the lot of capacity building work is being initiated by our government, and the private sector is also supporting this move. But apart from this, to support this, it is very necessary that the consumption increases. So, with CIDC and with the Niti Aayog and the policymakers, we urge that the how the consumption of the steel in the infrastructure increases has to be taken care. Moreover, I would like to say that since there is a lot of threatening happens due to the climate changes, earthquakes, and the flooding and everything, all this happening very frequently, steel plays a major role in precautionary measure for the lives of the people. At this climatic incidents happening, steel becomes protection in this infrastructure building. So, though the cost of the steel as compared to the other components is high, but in the long duration, it is seen that it is more favorable.
Mr. Mandani, is it because we did not have enough capacity to use steel here that we have a low capita consumption? Or are there other reasons why our consumption of steel has historically been very low?
See, it's a both way. The capacity building basically depends upon the need. If there is a need, definitely we have a potential to build up the capacities. So capacity building has never been an issue. Issue lies with the use and promotion of steel in the infrastructure building. So, see, if we see, there were very few occasions where we could have found the high-rise buildings. Now in each and every town, not only the developed town of India, but again the two tier and the tier cities have started building the long height buildings for the residential purpose and for the commercial purpose. So again, the steel consumption started increasing in the nearing days. We have seen the incremental increase happening in the consumption of steel. So your thought process of saying that The capacity was never an issue. Capacity always comes with the demand.
How much effort is required in skilling a new labor, or maybe taking steel constructions to the design schools, to the engineering schools, so that our new engineers are well versed in designing with steel?
See, we have been academically very strong, and our IQ level of Indians is very high. So, skilling has not been an issue. The thing of approach was an issue, but now we have seen that the companies and the private sectors and the government sectors themselves have started skilling their labors. So since our population is increasing, we need to see that our skilled labors are exported to other countries, where the other countries who are said to be developed are facing a very big issue of the skilled labors. We have that potential, we have that strength to skill and then to export. So definitely this is a area where the policymakers have to work at a very large scale.
Mr. Mandani, what kind of policy measures are required so that we can progressively step up the consumption of steel in the construction industry?
See, we should appreciate that our policymakers have made a lot of policies on seeking the consumptions of the steel in the parameters of designing the civil structures and the BI standards and the various standards. Now the thing is key, the infrastructure building done by the government institutes and the government companies, like national highways, we have lot of things getting developed. So they themselves have started promotion, and actually the think tank in Indian government should also seek that there should be always a prospectus of short term and long term. See, infrastructure building should be always on the long term basis. If we see in decades back, maybe like 100 and 150 years back, when British ruled India, there were a lot of infrastructure building made by them. We have seen a lot of canals, lot of bridges being developed by them, and that were in the totally 100% steel, made of 100% steel. Now, I would like to quote one example wherein I have seen in Maharashtra, in surrounding our cities, there were the bridges built by the British government way back, like 125 years back, and the development done by that agency had given assurance of 100 years life for that bridge. These 100 years have been lapsed, and they have given issued a notice or say letter stating that the bridge life is now over. But if we see at present, even after that 100 plus 25 years, this bridge is still in a very good and in a very proper condition. Now suppose say if this bridge was to be built by some other material, say concrete or some other material, in this last 125 years there would be a repair and a lot of activities done throughout every 10 years, say 5 years down the line. But since it was made of steel, definitely it could have we could have seen the life of this. So stating to that point, the think tanks and the policymakers should see that the use of steel is increased. See, there is both way. If we go on a per capita basis of steel consumption, we are lagging. Again, the population is increasing in our India. So there is a lot of scope wherein steel can grow. And moreover, if the policies are favorable, then we can also think of capacity building in addition to what the requirement is, which will support for the export, and the revenue can be generated for our country. So, this is a sector which plays a vital role in the GDP of our government. So, it's almost like 22% of the GDP contribution comes from the steel sector. So definitely, going ahead, the policymakers should take in consideration the industry side also, and if the policymakers and the industry both sit together and share their views on the aspect of how the consumption of steel can be increased. This will help.
Globally, now we are moving towards green targets, right? What are the green targets that you're working towards, and where do we feature in the global scale?
See, now the global new era of net zero carbon emission. Now every developed country wants to have some change, and this change is with the concern of the environment. So the net zero carbon emission for every commodity is being initiated by European Union and other developed countries. No doubt we are at our developing stage. So our government has targeted, our prime minister has given a target that by 2070, it was declared that by 2070, India would also be at a net zero carbon emission. After this G20 and all the events, we have revised our this thing target of net zero carbon from 2070 to 2050. So we have a time wherein we have to take an initiative right from now, so that our new investments, our new projects are in concern with this net zero carbon emission. Speaking about our sector as a steel, we are very promising in getting this net zero carbon emission and the green movement. uh, I would like to also state that there are the steel plants who were supposed to be called as a mini steel plant or the small steel plant who are scattered all across the India. They had their raw material as a scrap, as a steel scrap, and from this steel scrap they produce the finished steel, and they are doing this since from decades. So now this scrap conversion into the finished steel has been the major raw material for achieving this green movement target of net zero carbon. So it is giving an edge to our sector that we are towards the net zero carbon. A small changes in the power and the alloys addition, that will make them very soon to the net zero carbon. Now, if we take an example of this Saudi development of Neom City, so we have seen that in this Neom City, they have targeted to take the all the material whatever required for the development of the city, from seeking that these products are built with a net zero carbon emission. So we have an opportunity in India to export and grab that market. And our sector who uses the scrap are very close to this net zero carbon emission. So it myself believe that we have a very good chance of grabbing this opportunity and making our product a sustainable product.
Do we need any new inclusions in contract documents and dispute resolution and so on when you switch from other material to steel construction?
See, again, there is a we have a policies and the law, so both has to be taken care. The policies, if any formed, has to be under the framework of the law, and if necessary, the law has to be changed. Now, if we see the green initiative movement, we are struggling for a good policy to come out. But again, with the policy, we need to have a law framework also for this. And same thing for the steel. If the consumption has to be increased, we have to seek that the policymakers see that there is a substitution in the product change from other product to the steel product. And again that this will again rely on the law format. So definitely the think tank and the government should think on this and get it done. We industries are ready to support in each and every direction and each and every phase of this policy making.
Okay. And to put it in a nutshell, you're saying safety is one of the big issues, and the second one is that it is also longer lasting. It is more durable, right? These are the biggest advantages of steel construction, right?
See, if we see in a long term prospectus, if we see that definitely we can have a safe lifestyle if the steel consumption increases. And secondly, it will be a long lasting. So with this, both the parameters should help the policymaker to initiate that the steel consumption should increase as done by the developing nations all across the globe.
Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Mandani. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. And I am very thankful to the CIDC for getting the industries involved in the policy making, and not only in the policy making, helping the industries to grow. So we are very much thankful to the CIDC. On behalf of our steel sector, I would appreciate the work done by CIDC.